Story 1. 2 years ago, my group of curious 17-year-old friends discovered an abandoned asylum in Downey, California. We decided to explore it on a Saturday night. With additional friends, we embarked on the drive to Downey, witnessing the neighborhoods growing shadier as we approached the asylum. After 30 minutes, we arrived in Downey and navigated through the city to find the asylum. The closer we got, the more unsettling the surroundings became. Finally, after another 15 minutes of driving, we reached our destination. Parking the car, we entered the building through a hole in the fence. At first, the experience seemed relatively harmless. With a group of 10 people, we thought, what's the worst that could happen? We wandered through the building, observing broken furniture and scattered patient files. The abandoned mental institution intrigued us, and we were simply having a good time exploring its eerie corridors. However, things took a turn for the worse. As we walked, our flashlight illuminated the hallway ahead. Suddenly, we noticed another beam of light coming from around the corner. Turning the corner, we encountered another group of 4 kids. They inquired if we had been to the slide. Perplexed, we answered negatively, unaware of what they were referring to. They suggested we follow them, but their vibes were unsettling, so we declined politely. Amidst their conversation, one of the kids approached me, brandishing a 6-inch Bowie knife. He presented it as a cool find, moving it closer to my face. Nervously, I acknowledged its uniqueness, stepping away and suggesting we explore the roof. To our surprise, they agreed and continued on their way. Once on the roof, a sense of unease engulfed me. It became apparent that we were trespassing and that this place held an ominous aura. Overwhelmed by my apprehension, I urged everyone to leave, and they all concurred. Knowing that no one was allowed in the asylum, especially at night, we strategized the best exit route to avoid the police stationed at the main gate. Suddenly, my friend spotted a fire escape ladder hanging from a higher portion of the roof. We determined it to be our best chance, positioning the small ladder for my friend Jonah to ascend first. Once Jonah reached the top, he turned pale. Confused, I whispered, "Jonah, did you not see this?" His response was bewildered, and he asked what I meant. As he turned his gaze forward, the gravity of the situation hit me hard. What we witnessed on the roof was our worst nightmare come to life. A group of hooded figures, numbering around 15, sat in a circle surrounding a burning cat and several dead animals. They spoke in tongues, emitting eerie, satanic sounds. Fear consumed us as we descended the ladder, catching the attention of the cult-like individuals. They conversed among themselves in an incomprehensible language before sprinting towards us. Abandoning the fire escape plan, I instructed everyone to forget about the police and focus on escaping. We raced through the building, pursued closely by the sinister cult. Miraculously, we managed to exit the building and sprinted across a field towards the main gate. The cop on duty noticed the commotion, activating his sirens and approaching us. Thankfully, he intercepted the pursuing cult members, diverting their attention away from us. We escaped to safety, reflecting on the terror we had just experienced. It was undeniably the most frightening encounter of our lives. What would we have done if they had captured one of our friends? Would we have mustered the courage to confront them? Thankfully, we didn't have to find out. As we caught our breaths outside the asylum, relief washed over us. The harrowing chase had come to an end thanks to the timely intervention of the police officer. Still trembling from the adrenaline coursing through our veins, we huddled together, processing the magnitude of the horror we had narrowly escaped. The questions lingered in our minds. Who were those hooded figures? What twisted rituals were they performing on the rooftop? The sinister aura they exuded sent chills down our spines. We couldn't shake off the feeling that we had stumbled upon something far more sinister than an abandoned asylum. Despite the cops' intervention, fear continued to gnaw at us. Would those cult-like individuals come looking for us? Would they seek retribution for our intrusion into their malevolent gathering? We realized that the threat might not be over and we had to remain vigilant. We decided to keep the incident a secret, afraid of the potential consequences if the authorities got involved. Plus, who would believe our terrifying encounter with a cult on an abandoned rooftop? The truth would sound like a fabricated horror story. Months passed and we attempted to resume our normal lives. But the memories haunted us. Nightmares plagued our sleep, the images of the hooded figures and their sacrificial acts etched into our minds. We struggled to regain a sense of security and innocence. However, signs of the encounter's impact began to manifest. One by one, our group members experienced strange occurrences. Shadows flickered at the corners of their vision. Whispers echoed through their ears when no one was around, and a constant feeling of being watched plagued their every move. Paranoia took hold, causing rifts among us. Trust waned as suspicion grew. It became apparent that our encounter with the cult had left a lasting mark on our psyches, shattering our youthful naivety. The once tight-knit group slowly unraveled under the weight of fear and uncertainty. Desperate for answers and seeking solace, we turned to research. Hours were spent scouring obscure books and online forums, searching for any trace of the cult or similar occurrences. Our findings led us down a dark path, delving into the realms of the occult and hidden secrets. The deeper we delved, the more we unearthed about the asylum's disturbing past. It had been a site of unspeakable horrors, where patients were subjected to inhumane experiments and atrocities. Rumors of occult practices and the involvement of a deranged cult emerged from the shadows. The pieces began to fit together. The abandoned asylum was more than just a decrepit building. It was a vessel for darkness, an unholy sanctuary where the line between this world and the beyond blurred. Our ill-fated exploration had disturbed the dormant evil that resided within those walls. Driven by a mix of curiosity, desperation, and a need for closure, we resolved to confront the cult and put an end to their sinister activities. Armed with newfound knowledge and a grim determination, we embarked on a dangerous quest to unveil the truth and free ourselves from the clutches of fear. It was a treacherous journey, filled with unexpected twists and encounters that tested our resolve. We sought guidance from seasoned occult experts, risking our lives to infiltrate hidden covens and decipher cryptic symbols. Each step drew us deeper into a dark web of malevolence. Finally, our efforts bore fruit. We uncovered a hidden location, a secluded hideout where the cult congregated, performing their macabre rituals. With a mixture of fear and determination, we made our way towards their lair, ready to confront the darkness that had consumed our lives. The final showdown was as intense as it was surreal. Our hearts pounded in our chests as we confronted the hooded figures, challenging their twisted beliefs and demanding answers. The air crackled with tension as we stood face to face with the embodiment of evil. The cult members, caught off guard by our unexpected arrival, initially reacted with hostility. They lunged at us, their eyes filled with fanaticism and a fervor for protecting their secret rituals. But we fought back, fueled by a combination of fear and a desire to reclaim our lives. The battle was fierce, an all-out struggle between light and darkness. The echoes of our screams mixed with the chants of the cultists, creating an eerie symphony of chaos. Each swing, each strike, was infused with desperation and a determination to banish the horrors that had haunted us for so long. As the fight raged on, we realized that defeating the cult would not be easy. They possessed an otherworldly strength, their bodies seemingly fueled by the malevolent forces they worshipped. But we refused to relent. With every ounce of strength and courage, we pressed forward, pushing them back one by one. It was a grueling battle, a test of our physical and emotional limits. Yet, we persevered, fueled by the bonds we had formed as friends and the indomitable spirit that burned within each of us. Slowly, the tide turned in our favor. The cultists faltered, their resolve weakening as we chipped away at their ranks. Finally, the last of them fell, defeated and broken. The once haunting hideout now stood silent, its walls witnessing the defeat of darkness and the triumph of resilience. We stood amidst the fallen, catching our breath, taking in the magnitude of what we had accomplished. With the cult dismantled, a sense of relief washed over us. The weight that had burdened our souls for so long began to lift, replaced by a newfound sense of empowerment. We had faced our fears head-on, standing against the darkness that had threatened to consume us. But our journey was not yet complete. In the aftermath of the battle, we discovered records and documents that revealed a far-reaching network of cult activity. Realizing the need to expose their existence and prevent others from falling victim, we vowed to bring the truth to light. Together, we compiled our evidence, seeking out journalists, investigators, and authorities who would listen to our harrowing tale. The revelation sparked a widespread investigation, unearthing hidden cults and exposing the deep-rooted darkness that had plagued our lives. As the truth came to light, we found solace in knowing that our ordeal had not been in vain. Our courage had initiated a ripple effect, empowering others to confront their own fears and fight against the shadows that threatened their lives. The horror story that began in the abandoned asylum had transformed into a tale of resilience, friendship, and triumph over darkness. We had overcome our deepest fears, emerging stronger and wiser on the other side. Looking back, we understood that our journey had irrevocably changed us. It had taught us the value of courage, the strength in unity, and the importance of standing up against the forces that seek to oppress and destroy. Though scars remained, both seen and unseen, we knew that we were forever bound by the shared experience. And as we moved forward, we carried with us the knowledge that, even in the face of unimaginable horror, there is always hope, and together we can overcome anything. Story 2. My name is Michael, and this is the chilling tale of me, my friends Jacob and Jeremiah. It all began in the summer of 2019 when Jacob and I stumbled upon an abandoned house while driving down a dirt road one night. Exploring such houses had become our favorite pastime, and we were ecstatic at the discovery. Determined to investigate further, we decided to return during daylight to get a better look. Unfortunately, our attempts to find the house again proved futile, leaving us disappointed. We reluctantly agreed to search for another abandoned house. Fast forward to the summer of 2020, when I grew tired of being cooped up at home and decided to embark on a quest to find the elusive house we had missed out on. After navigating a maze of dirt roads for about an hour, I finally stumbled upon it. Excitement overwhelmed me, and I immediately texted Jacob to share the news. Later that day, Jacob and I reunited at the house. As we stepped inside, our faces lit up with anticipation. Despite being abandoned, the house had an eerie charm, with broken windows and tall grass surrounding the property. We carefully made our way through the back door, maneuvering through branches, and began exploring. To our surprise, the interior of the house was remarkably well preserved. It had 2 stories and a finished basement, but we focused our exploration on the first floor to avoid drawing attention. We encountered scattered broken glass, a few items strewn about, and a striking chandelier in the living room. Satisfied with our initial visit, we made plans to return later that night with additional friends for added excitement. Around 11:30 p.m., we picked up our friends and Jeremiah, eager to share the experience with them. As we entered the house once again, the atmosphere was filled with the reckless energy of teenage boys. We were loud, obnoxious, and gleefully spooking each other. Venturing upstairs, we continued our exploration, spending considerable time in the various rooms. As we prepared to leave, jokingly discussing who should lead the way down the stairs, a sudden crash erupted from the main floor, freezing us in our tracks. We exchanged shocked glances, trying to comprehend the source of the disturbance. Initially, we suspected Jeremiah might be behind the noise, as he had a mischievous streak. However, logic quickly dismissed that possibility since he was positioned behind me. With lingering trepidation, I cautiously descended the stairs to investigate. To our bewilderment, there was no one there and nothing appeared to have fallen. A chandelier still dangled undisturbed from the ceiling. Feeling unnerved, we hastily made our way towards the exit, determined to leave as swiftly as possible. As we reached the car, our hearts sank as a large grey SUV pulled up alongside us. Panic gripped us, but Jacob managed to roll down his window and call out to the occupants. To our dismay, both the driver's window and the passenger window rolled down simultaneously, revealing a shocking sight. 5 individuals, armed with baseball bats and other weapons, stared menacingly at us. Without hesitation, Jacob shifted the car into drive and accelerated away from the scene. As we sped down the dark road, the SUV pursued us relentlessly, dangerously close to our bumper. Jacob skillfully maneuvered onto a nearby highway, pushing our speed to almost 100 miles per hour. After a tense few minutes, the pursuing vehicle abruptly turned around and vanished into the distance. We pulled over, attempting to catch our breath and make sense of the harrowing encounter. Silence enveloped us as we sat in the car, grappling with the reality of what had just occurred. After a few minutes, we decided to return to the house to see if the mysterious car was still lurking in the vicinity. With trepidation, we parked across from the house, scanning the surroundings for any sign of the menacing SUV. To our relief, it was nowhere to be seen. As we huddled in the car, the adrenaline slowly subsiding, we began discussing the events that unfolded. Jeremiah's phone suddenly rang, shattering the silence. It was his girlfriend, and the news she shared sent shivers down our spines. She asked if we had visited the abandoned house where a tragic incident had occurred. Wide-eyed, Jacob and I exchanged a glance, our minds flooded with dread. Jeremiah's girlfriend revealed that the house had been notorious as a hotspot for teenage parties, which had caught the attention of the property owner. Disturbingly, he had installed hidden cameras within the premises. One fateful night, upon discovering a party taking place, the owner arrived and fatally shot one of the attendees. The revelation left us speechless, realizing the danger we had unwittingly stumbled upon. Jeremiah's girlfriend, having been to the house before, had noticed his location and felt compelled to share the ominous history. With the call ending, an eerie silence filled the car. The weight of our near miss and the grim fate of the previous visitor hung heavily in the air. Jacob took on the responsibility of safely driving each of us back home, dropping us off one by one. That night, as I lay in bed, my mind raced with thoughts and unanswered questions. What had caused the unsettling noise in the house? Who were the menacing figures in the SUV? And why did they pursue us? It was a night filled with unexplainable occurrences that left an indelible mark on our lives. In the 2 years that followed, Jacob and I often found ourselves reminiscing about that haunting night. We contemplated the unexplained phenomena and the narrow escape we had experienced. The incident had forever altered our perception of abandoned houses and the potential dangers that lurked within. The unresolved mystery of the noise on the stairs plagued my thoughts. Was it a mere coincidence, a product of an old house settling, or something more sinister? A lack of answers left a lingering sense of unease, discouraging any further exploration of abandoned homes. The fear instilled in us that night acted as a deterrent, ensuring we would never embark on such ventures again. Time passed, and life moved on, but the memories of that chilling encounter remained etched in our minds. It served as a constant reminder of the fragility of our existence and the unpredictable nature of the world around us. As for me, I made a conscious decision to leave behind the world of abandoned houses, content to let those mysterious dwellings remain untouched by my curiosity. The chilling events of that night had taught me the value of safety, the importance of trusting one's instincts, and the stark reality that some secrets are better left undisturbed. To this day, Jacob and I occasionally reflect on that spine-chilling experience, grateful that we emerged unscathed. We had narrowly escaped a fate that could have been far worse, leaving us with a newfound appreciation for the fragile line between curiosity and danger. Story 3. I'm currently 17 years old, still living with my parents. Next door, there's an abandoned house that has been empty for as long as we've lived in this neighborhood. It's been nearly 2 years since we moved here. This part of town is a bit rough and abandoned homes are quite common. I never really liked the idea of living next to an abandoned house. It had an eerie vibe, but honestly, I didn't care that much and rarely thought about it. However, there were a few occasions when I could have sworn I heard something coming from that house. I speculated that maybe squatters had taken shelter there, but I decided to mind my own business. You know the saying, curiosity killed the cat. Well, I figured as long as they weren't causing any harm, it was best to stay away from the situation entirely. Then, one hot summer night, I couldn't sleep. I tossed and turned, desperately trying to find some shut-eye. Suddenly, piercing screams echoed from the abandoned house. It lasted only a few seconds, but it sent me into a panic. Without thinking straight, I grabbed the switchblade my father had given me as a birthday present and quietly snuck out of my window. I made my way over to the house, jumping fences and maneuvering through bushes, determined not to be heard or seen. As I approached the back porch, my heart pounded in my chest, almost urging me to turn back. But I didn't. Looking back, I can't fathom what I was thinking or blame anyone for thinking I was foolish. With trepidation, I crept inside, finding the sliding glass door surprisingly unlocked. The darkness enveloped the interior, and I relied on the flashlight of my iPhone to guide me. It was a bad move on my part because the sudden illumination startled someone nearby. I hastily turned off the flashlight, pressed myself against the living room wall, waiting for the person to pass. I'm almost certain he noticed my presence due to the light. As he turned the corner, I was met with a towering figure much larger than myself. He swiftly punched me in the face, gripping my arm and shirt, dragging me forcefully. Instinctively, I fought back, desperately trying to break free. Realizing his intention to take me to the basement, I mustered all my strength, kicked him in the groin, and pushed him down the stairs. I fled from the house, running as fast as I could, back to the safety of my home. Climbing back in through my window, I locked it hastily, hoping no one had witnessed my escape. I rushed to secure the front and back doors, and then I called my mother. Panicked, she urged me to contact the police immediately. I hung up and dialed 911, recounting the harrowing events and pleading for an officer to be dispatched urgently. While waiting for the police to arrive, I was instructed to keep an eye on the abandoned house. Peering out of our living room window, I witnessed the most chilling sight of my entire 17 years of existence. A man was staring directly at me from the window of the house. Though it was difficult to discern his features, I suspected it was the same man I had pushed down the stairs. We locked eyes for what felt like an eternity before he abruptly closed the blinds, vanishing from sight. Terrified, I retreated to my room, anxiously awaiting the arrival of the police. I hoped they would catch him, but by the time they arrived, he had already disappeared. I wasn't surprised, but the fear of his potential return for revenge overwhelmed me. The police searched the house but found no one and no signs of suspicious activity. This only added to the creepiness of the situation. What on earth could be going on in that house? Not just at night, but all those other nights when I heard strange noises emanating from within its walls. It's a mystery that I doubt I will ever unravel. The uncertainty and fear lingered, casting a shadow over my daily life. I couldn't shake the feeling that something malevolent resided within that abandoned house. Something that could pose a threat not only to me but to the entire neighborhood. I couldn't help but wonder if I had stumbled upon something sinister, something far beyond the realm of my understanding. Sleep became elusive, haunted by nightmares that merged with my waking thoughts. Each creak of the floorboards in my own home sent shivers down my spine, and the slightest whisper of the wind made me jump. It was as if the entire world had become a terrifying playground, and I was just a pawn in a macabre game. News spread quickly throughout the neighborhood about the incident at the abandoned house. Whispers filled the streets, and the once vibrant community now seemed shrouded in a collective fear. Doors were locked tighter, curtains drawn, and children were warned to stay away from the dilapidated structure that now stood as a looming specter. Yet, despite the unease and the cautionary tales circulating, a lingering curiosity gnawed at me. I couldn't let go of the mystery that lay within those walls. I yearned for answers, no matter how terrifying they might be. In the depths of my soul, I knew I had to confront the darkness head-on, to uncover the truth that lay concealed. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. The abandoned house became a symbol of both dread and fascination. And then, on a moonlit night when the stars shimmered like beacons, I made a decision that would forever alter the course of my life. Equipped with a determination that surpassed my fear, I rallied a group of brave friends from the neighborhood. Together, we formed a pact to investigate the mysteries of the abandoned house. Armed with flashlights, cameras, and a resolve that burned like fire, we ventured into the unknown. As we approached the house, its eerie presence seemed to grow more palpable. The air turned thick with anticipation, and the silence became deafening. Each step we took echoed through the hollow spaces, as if the house itself was alive, reacting to our intrusion. We explored every room, cautiously peering into the darkness. The walls whispered secrets, and the floorboards groaned beneath our weight. Every flicker of a shadow made our hearts race, yet we pressed on, unwilling to succumb to the fear that threatened to engulf us. And then we discovered it, a hidden door concealed behind a bookshelf. It beckoned to us, revealing a passage that led down into the bowels of the house. Without hesitation, we descended into the depths, our hearts pounding in unison. The basement revealed a scene that defied all logic. symbols etched into the walls, candles casting dancing shadows, and a palpable sense of malevolence that clung to the air. It was a dark sanctuary, a place where unspeakable rituals had unfolded. Suddenly, a presence emerged from the shadows, its eyes gleaming with an otherworldly intensity. We stood frozen, unable to comprehend the horrors that stood before us. The truth was far more terrifying than we had ever imagined. Evil had taken root within these walls, a force that thrived on fear and suffering, feeding on the souls of the unsuspecting. It was a malevolent entity awakened by our intrusion, and now it hungered for our very lives. In a frantic scramble, we fought to escape the clutches of the dark entity. The basement became a battleground of survival, our collective screams echoing through the house. Desperation fueled our actions as we dodged its sinister attacks, desperately searching for an escape route. As we made our way back upstairs, the house seemed to come alive, its walls shifting and contorting like a living nightmare. The once familiar layout became a labyrinth, trapping us in its clutches. Panic threatened to consume us, but we refused to surrender to the malevolence that lurked within. Through sheer determination and a stroke of luck, we stumbled upon a hidden passage that led to an attic. With adrenaline coursing through our veins, we ascended the creaky staircase, hoping to find a way out of this hellish nightmare. The attic was a forgotten realm of forgotten memories. Dust-covered furniture and decaying trinkets lined the space, hinting at a bygone era. But there was no time for reflection, our lives hung in the balance. In the corner of the attic, we discovered a worn-out diary, its pages filled with cryptic entries and dark revelations. It spoke of an ancient curse that befell the house, a curse that consumed those who dared to uncover its secrets. The diary offered a glimmer of hope, a ritual that could banish the malevolent force and restore peace to the neighborhood. Armed with newfound knowledge, we embarked on a treacherous journey, collecting the necessary artifacts and performing the ritual with trembling hands. Each step was fraught with danger, as the entity fought back with all its might, desperate to maintain its grip on the world. As the final incantation resonated through the house, a surge of energy filled the air. The very foundations of the house trembled, and a blinding light erupted, engulfing everything in its path. We shielded our eyes, unsure of what awaited us on the other side. When the brilliance subsided, we found ourselves standing outside the abandoned house, the night sky above filled with stars that twinkled with a renewed sense of tranquility. The curse had been broken, the malevolent entity vanquished. Word of our triumph spread throughout the neighborhood, and a newfound sense of unity emerged. The once dreaded house, now cleansed of its darkness, became a symbol of resilience and the triumph of good over evil. Years have passed since that fateful night, and the memory of our harrowing encounter has faded. The abandoned house, no longer abandoned, has found new owners who know nothing of its dark past. Yet, a small part of me wonders if the shadows truly vanished or if they merely lie dormant, waiting for the unsuspecting to awaken them once again. But for now, life in the neighborhood has returned to normalcy. Children play freely in the streets, laughter fills the air, and the house stands as a reminder of the strength that lies within a community united against the forces of darkness. And though the horrors we face still haunt our dreams, we find solace in the knowledge that we stood together and prevailed in the face of unspeakable terror. And so, the tale of the abandoned house serves as a cautionary reminder, a reminder that even in the darkest corners, courage and unity can conquer the deepest of fears.